All right, crew, here's what we're going to build today. We're going to build a simple gear train. And you notice here when I crank the larger gear, right, the smaller gear turns. We want to take notice to the direction they turn. And we're also going to talk about gear ratio after we build this. But this is the mechanism that we're going to build. I'm going to walk you through it. You can watch it and fast forward if you need to. First, we're going to talk about all of the pieces that you see here. And then we'll get started. I'm going to set it aside. All right, the pieces you're going to need for this, okay, you're going to need 2 gears. We have 4, just pick 2 different sizes. These are the 4 that we have, right? I picked those 2. You're going to need 1 handle. You're going to need a maximum of 4 Kep's nuts and 4 screws. 1/2 inch should be more than enough. I've got a couple of 1/4 inches. 2 flat bearings, 4 shaft collars, 2 drive shafts, and a handful of these black spacers. 2 different sizes, just grab a couple of each. Okay, so 4 to 8 black spacers. That's it, that's all you're gonna need. Oh, you will also need your Allen wrench, the smaller one there for the shaft collars, and you can get your hex driver or the hex key for your screws. Okay? All right, let's get to building. All right, here's our wall. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put one of these flat bearings on the wall. I do know some classes use pop rivets. I personally just rather have a Kep nut, so I'm going to put the Kep nut through here. I'm sorry, Kep nuts and a screw. So I'll turn this around. I'm going to put my Kep's nut and my screw through the one side. Where's that? Here it is. So you just attach that Kep nut to the backhand side. And this is where if you do have a partner, sometimes it's a little bit easier, right? And you just hand tighten that. Once you hand tighten it, you can stick your Allen wrench or your hex key driver in there. Don't go crazy. Just give it a turn and make it snug. Okay. Now sometimes you can put double of these in. I did learn from a guy, Mark Johnston, online. One's probably sufficient because we're gonna lock it down with some lock nuts. Now, I did make a mistake earlier when I gave you the pieces. I told you that you only needed 2 of these. You're actually going to need 4 because you need 1 on the front and 1 on the back. Because when you put a drive shaft through a wall, drive shaft through anywhere, you want it to go through plastic, right? You don't want it to be metal on metal where it grinds, like my brakes in my car this morning. You want the drive shaft up off the metal so it turns smoothly, there's no rattling and all that. So wherever I put this one, I'm going to attach the other one on the opposite wall. Now I put mine on the opposite side from the other side. You don't have to do that. I was just trying to give it, you know, tight on this side, tight on the other side. Again, we're going to put our shaft collar in. You could put this on the inside. The problem with putting it on the inside is, you know, there's just not a lot of room. Now I did kind of put myself at a disadvantage here where I put the screw this way, so I'm going to have to stick the drive shaft, or the, what do you call this thing, the hex driver through. I have to use the right one. You guys won't have that problem, no worries. And again, just hand tighten it, give it a 1/4 turn, nice and snug. These 2 are nice and snug. Next step, I'm going to slide a drive shaft right through the center. Okay? At this point, I want to make sure that I've got the same spacing on both of these. So I am just going to slide a spacer through to make sure that this gear doesn't rub against anything here. I'm going to take one of these black spacers, I'm going to slide it through. I'm going to go ahead and slide my gear on. And then at this point, it's easy. I'm going to take one of my shaft collars, put it on the front, and I'm going to tighten it down. Now again, do not go crazy tightening these down. The shaft collars have a little tiny set screw inside. That set screw is important. Never take it all the way out because then it disappears on the floor and the shaft collar is useless. I give that a tiny little turn. You saw that in the video. Now this is tight. I can't pull it off this side. Once I tighten it down over here, we're good. And actually, I'll just go ahead and finish this side while I'm at it. I'm going to take a spacer, slide it on here, and see that spacer, I don't know if the video shows it, but that spacer brings this out beyond this little wall here. So now I can just slide this drive shaft, or this shaft collar, onto the drive shaft. Probably just have to loosen that one a little. Now let's go ahead and do it. Loosen it up. Do not take it all the way out. Just loosen it up. This is a little set screw that pinches onto this drive shaft. See, it slides right on now. Give it a nice little turn to the right. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Tighten it all down like this. Ready. There we go. Okay, now back and forth, doesn't slide, spins, no rattling, nice and smooth. All right, here's where I made the mistake before. Every time you have this drive shaft going through, you need 2 flat bearings. So when I said 2 earlier, I had to go get 2 more. Now you can't just pop it anywhere. That's the problem, right? If I'm choosing this gear, right? If I'm choosing this large gear to match this one, I have to figure out where in the wall it's going to fit, right? I can't pop it anywhere. These gears have to mesh up just like this, perfectly. They have to be touching these little teeth in here. The teeth have to hook in, and I got another one to show you. These teeth have to hook in like this and connect. Where's the camera? Right? They have to connect like this. They can't be loose. They can't be, you know, whatever. Now they can be higher, but it's easy. It's best if they connect here because that's the most surface area, right? If it's up here, I suppose it would still work. It just depends on your mechanism and how it's built. But you want this thing, you know, the meshed teeth right in with each other. All right, I said they had to mesh up, right? But you don't know exactly where on the wall to put this thing. So what I do is I run it through the drive shaft, okay? And then you're just going to have to test it. You're going to have to pick a hole, slide it through, and see if that's the right one. And you see right there, if I turn it this way, it's not. So then I'm going to just come over one more. And sometimes you might have to go up and down the wall. You know, you might have to go, like, even though I put this one through the top hole, I might have to put this one through the next hole. Okay, well, that works. So once I find that hole, I can go ahead and then put my flat bearing there. Just mark that down, right? And I can go ahead and put my flat bearing on the wall. I can go ahead and put a screw through it. Okay? Tighten this thing down. Again, even these 1/4 inch screws, you know, they don't have a lot of bite, but that's all the more you need. 1/2 inch probably work better, be less frustrating for you. Once you get that in, grab your hex, your either Allen wrench or your hex driver, or whatever one you got. Again, just a 1/4, not even a 1/4 turn, just tighten that down a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put the one on the back side, and then we'll slide this through and basically be done. All right, I actually had to go get a 1/2 inch screw. You know, it worked fine here, but I'm telling you, the 1/4 inch, the shortest screw is always the best option, but the 1/4 inch is just a little too short. You can see sometimes it's frustrating, it falls down in between. If that's too bad, you know, we have some walls with some wider gaps in there. And if you want to change your wall to a wider gap, that's always fine too. But anyway, get that hand tightened on there. Give it a crank. Just a slight one. You don't want to over tighten, don't want to crack anything. And remember, because I haven't said it in this video, but these Kepps nuts have teeth, right? The nuts have teeth and they need to bite, okay? They got to bite against this metal. The nuts have teeth and they got to bite. Now at this point, I've got both of my flat bearings on here. I've got them tightened down and I got them cross tightened, you know, so that makes it better. And I'm just going to slide this through the middle. Actually, wait, I got to match up my spacer because I put a spacer on this side so I can slide it right here on the back. Slide this through here. This ensures that my space for my gears is going to be the same no matter what side, okay? And sometimes when you get them nice and tight, you're really going to have to, you have to turn it a little bit to get it to mesh in here. And now I've got these things. Oh, wait, you know what? I forgot. I apologize, guys. This giant 84 tooth gear, it already has a spacer on it. It's like a full spacer where this little one only has a 1/2 spacer. So I just need to slide a 1/2 spacer on here. That's why I told you to grab a handful. And then this ensures that they will match up and mesh up perfectly just like that. Okay? So go ahead and slide your spacer on the back. Slide one of your shaft collars on the back. Grab your Allen wrench, tighten it down. Oops. All right. Grab the other drive shaft collar, slide it on your drive shaft. Grab your Allen wrench, tighten it down. And you know, this one here, has this little thing. I'm just gonna put a spacer here. This won't mess up our spacing, but this makes sure that I don't have this metal on the plastic thing. It's kind of smoother this way, so you don't have to. Again, just an option. Tighten this thing down. Okay, now, well, you can see that being tight. So let's try another one. Pick that up in a minute. Remember, when your stuff falls on the floor, pick it up. Our custodial staff is phenomenal, but they don't need any extra work. They got enough. Pick that up. There we go. Now it's tight. So turn this thing around. You decide which one's the input, which one's the output, right? And I told you we're going to talk about gear ratio. We can make that a whole nother video, but you decide which one's the input, which one's the output. This is closest to me, so I'll do it here. And I like speed. I told you this before. You can put a drive shaft on, a shaft collar on this drive shaft, one in front, one in back, and this way your handle won't fall off. But since we're just building it today and taking it apart, it's not a problem. But if this was something that was going to stay put together, you would want a shaft collar in front and back so that the handle would not fall off. But I like speed, right? I just want to go fast. So every time I spin this spins at least 2 or 3 times. I've created some speed, and we'll talk about that gear ratio and that speed or torque in class. Have fun.